Peace, everybody. It's Montahana with that Ansari Life. How are you? So let me start off by saying, despite the title, I did not make that title for the video because, Muslim adult people with ADHD are more unique or better in any sort of a way than anyone who is not Muslim that has ADHD. I simply put that in the title because I'm coming from that perspective, but also for other Muslims who are looking for something. So maybe they'll click on a video and understand that they are not alone, or some Muslims who may be going through certain trials, like having severe trouble focusing during prayer, during worship, doing salat, that they'll know, or that maybe they'll consider that there could be an underlying issue that they just didn't think about, as opposed to thinking like they're terrible people because they cannot focus in salat. And I haven't seen anything, at least from all of the imams and scholars who make videos and who put out writings and stuff pertaining to not focusing in salah. They never seem, they have like all these reasonings, oh, this is what you can do, and this is what you can do, and that is what you can do. But they never seem to consider that there could be some sort of mental issue or, health issue that is causing this sort of thing. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm 52 years old. It just dawned on me like a year ago, if that long ago, that you know what, something's going on here. And it was totally by accident. So let me say that, first of all, let me ask everybody to please click like and subscribe. I always forget to ask that, so if you could, I would be so grateful. But I totally stumbled upon the idea, or what seems to be accurate to me at least, that I have ADD and or ADHD. And I'll kind of touch on that in a minute. I have a relative who was diagnosed with ADHD and a couple of other issues too. And so me, and trying to be helpful, I started looking at all these videos to send to the mom so that she could look into it and possibly consider some non-medicational ways to manage it. And in doing so, I started realizing, like, wait, that's me. Wait, that's me. Wait, that's me. Do I have ADHD? So then from there, I started, delving even deeper and then looking at it from a perspective of me possibly having it. Now, I have not been formally diagnosed because, quite frankly, I do not have insurance and I do not have the money to put out to get tested. I work in medical, but I do not have insurance or means to deal with my own health care needs, unfortunately. But I live in America, in Pennsylvania at that. So this diagnosis, I'm a nurse too, so I'm giving myself more leeway in saying, okay, I really think this is what it is. I get to diagnose other people, so why not diagnose myself? So what are some things, some reasons that I believe I have ADHD? And these are not all of the signs or symptoms that could point to that, but these are certainly some of them. And so procrastination. I have forever been, my entire life, a procrastinator. I thought it was just because I'm a procrastinator. I'm bad with time, like it was something, a negative, a blight on me and my behavior, I never thought I was taking anything, not seriously, but it was just something that I've always struggled with, being a procrastinator. I can have, and then I heard Aisha Tyler a long time ago. She's saying she's a comedian, but she seemed like really serious. And so she said they were laughing about her always being late. And she said, you know, it's not that she basically was saying like it's not really her fault, it's that she's an overachiever. And so she said like she could be done like an hour before, so you know, then she has to be somewhere, but she was like, oh, I have an hour, I can do this, and let me go do this, and then let me finish that. And then by the time she does all those things, she's like, oh my God, time got away from me, I'm about to be late. And apparently this is something that she does a lot. And so I started adapting that that idea. I would tell people like, no, I'm just like an overachiever, like it's like, but it's been a problem for me my entire life. I was always late to school and stuff like that. And I don't know, maybe my mom had ADHD too, or ADD or whatever, I don't know. So, and I'll get back to that. So let me just say now, ADHD means that you have hyperactivity, and then ADD means that you don't have that hyperactivity. You have problem with focusing and stuff. So the ADD is what they call inattentive, but there you can also have a combination. And so I've also heard lately, I forget whose video this was said on, but she said that what they thought was ADD is not, it's still ADHD, but the hyperactivity is internal because our minds go constantly. So that's why I'm saying ADHD or ADD. I think I do have ADHD because I cannot turn this thing off. I just can't. I don't. Anyway, it's making me uncomfortable thinking about it. So yeah, the procrastination, the inability to focus, the inability to, like, I would start crazy amounts of projects, but won't finish them. Like really, like I get things accomplished, but I could get far more accomplished. I could be so much more ahead in life than I am. And I'm not at a bad place, but I could be further if I could just focus on something and then, well, like follow through. Because that's the other thing. It's not necessarily that you can't focus per se. It's that you focus on like the wrong things. So hence the procrastination and things of that nature. And so, like, for instance, if you're supposed to make us a lot and focusing there, your mind may start to wander and you become focused on something else, but not even realizing that this is what you're doing, but it just like goes somewhere else. So anyway, the focusing or the lack of focusing, the again, not following through with projects or tasks, or, you know, important things you might have to do at work, lateness. I am, again, like I said, I was always late to school. I am always late to work. And I can literally be in the parking lot, and not by a whole lot. It'll be like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. But I can literally be in the work parking lot 20 minutes before. And then, boom, I'm like, oh, man. I'm like running in and I'm like, you know, logging in late. And in healthcare, that's like a big thing. Like, even just being a couple of minutes late. Some places, they'll give you like a 7-minute grace period. They don't really want you to take it, but you do have it. So it won't like go on your record as being late per se. But I am notorious for that. I'm notorious for, I was fixing to say something specifically. Oh, very forgetful, extremely forgetful. That's been something too, and it's gotten far worse in the past years, maybe like the past 5 years or something like that. I don't know if that has to do with my age. If you've seen any of my other videos on this channel, I used to talk a lot about my reproductive issues. And so I had bilateral, well, I found out about my fibroids because I have bilateral pulmonary embolism, so blood clots in both my lungs. And then while they were like doing all these testing and things like that, and CTs and whatnot, they saw that I had a fibroid. Like, it was humongous. It was like the size of a watermelon. And so I had to get a hysterectomy because I was literally laying in bed and dying. And just other videos, you can see me talk about all that stuff. So I have a partial hysterectomy. So I still have my ovaries, which means I still have hormones, even though I have no uterus, like my estrogen and stuff. And so I don't know if because of my age, and I will still have to go through menopause because I have my ovaries. So I'm not sure if that is also like triggering things to be even worse, because that happens with women when women go through menopause, or their ADHD symptoms and ADD symptoms tend to worsen. So there's that. What else? Following through. Losing important things. I've gotten better, but losing important things like your keys to your house, your keys to your car, your phones, like things that are important. Your earbuds. I cannot find my earbuds. I lost my first, and those things are expensive. They may not be expensive to a lot of y'all, but I'm not in the habit of spending $200 on a gadget. That is not my thing. But they are so awesome and so convenient and helpful for me. I bought a pair of Apple AirPods about 4 years ago, maybe. And then I lost them and had to buy a new set. So I bought those, and I have lost them so many times. They would be MIA for months, and then they'll just pop up. One time I couldn't find them for so many months, and then when I finally found them, they were right on my sewing table. But my sewing table had so much stuff on it that I didn't know they were there, and it didn't dawn on me to like move the stuff out the way. Which brings me to another thing. Clutter. Clutter. I have a big house now with this, like 6 other people I live with though. I've like allowed family to come live with me, and so they have a lot of clutter too. But I have a lot of things, like I have oodles of fabric, I have oodles of yarn, I have oodles of beads and just stuff like that. And you know, as time goes on, as time went on, my craft room, which is now a baby nursery, but when it was my craft room, it would just, things would start to pile up. And then again, with the whole focus thing and not finishing projects, I go through like, what do you call it? Like periods of I'm totally into sewing, and I'm sewing everything, and I'm buying fabric and da-da-da-da. And then, bam, that's off. I'm not interested in that anymore. But if I had been working on something, it's just right there. All my stuff is there. Mind you, I do work a lot. Give me some grace. I do work a lot, and I go to school. And, you know, I have 2 organizations and just a lot of stuff going on. But nonetheless, this is my life. And, it's so hard because I know how to organize. I want to organize. I begin to organize and then fall off. But I don't know, it's just something. And then too, I thought like, well, maybe it's because growing up, there was so many of us kids, and we were always living in like a 2-bedroom apartment and stuff. We're like stepping over each other basically. And so there was always stuff. So I was just always around clutter. So I was like, maybe this is just because this is how I was trained to be and trained to think. And it's extremely hard for me to like break that, especially not having any help. I keep saying I'm gonna get me a maid. But I have to clean up first before I let it come in. So those are some things. And just it's difficult, But I will say, oh, I have to mention this. Another thing people with ADHD, ADD, attention disorder, we do is not pay bills. Like we with the procrastination and stuff, we put things off to, oh, it's due tomorrow. Oh, let me get it done. You know what I mean? We put things off to the very last minute when we have deadlines or whatever. And one of the things we do is like not opening up mail. Notorious for that. And also not paying off bills, even though you could have the money. I have had bills that needed to be paid, and either I'm just putting it off because even though it takes like 2 minutes online to do it, it's just something in my mind that's like tedious. It's like tedious. I better plug on my phone. It's tedious, and it's just not something that makes me feel happy. I don't know what it is. It just has like this icky feeling on me. And I'm not one of those people who are always following happiness. Like, I get annoyed by people who are talking about, yeah, but I'm not happy. Like, life ain't supposed to be happy all the time. But so it's not that that I need things to be happy for me to do them. But those things in particular just has like this, I can't even explain it or articulate it. It's just like, just even thinking about it now, it's like just a gloomy task to have to do. And so you know, I'll put things off. I could have 5 times what the bill is in my bank account, and I just put it off. And to be quite honest, this is a little bit embarrassing, but not really, whatever. Last year my gas got cut off, and I was like, what the heck? I just paid my bill. When I went on here, it had been 3 months since I had not paid my gas bill. And when I say gas, that also takes into account, you know, our heating costs, goes onto the gas bill. So gas got cut off. I had to scramble. I had to pay like $150 extra just to get it, for them to reapply or whatever it is that they do to reconnect it. And plus I had to pay, you know, what was due, which included past it was just crazy. And it was because this is what I was going to say that I couldn't remember before. We have time blindness, and that has gotten a lot worse for me too, I would say, at least in the last 5 years. I felt like I used to be far better. Like I knew a 15-minute period was 15-minute period. Now an hour period is a 15-minute period to me. Like, I'm like, what do you mean is 3 o'clock? It was just, you know what I mean? Like, so it just, and so just putting things off and stuff. So me forgetting about bills, or thinking that I paid it because I can visualize me paying something, me thinking it was the last pay period, but it wasn't. It was like 3-4 pay. It's just really bad. But I have to say, me self-diagnosing myself put me in a different perspective. And it was like, it was such a blessing for me, because especially with Salat, I felt so terrible all the time. Like, why can't I focus? Like, I just made, you know, I just finished the first rak'ah, and you know, I'm going into my second. Oh, what surah did I do before? Oh man. So I ended up doing like 2 surahs, because just in case I did one of them, I'm gonna do an extra one just in case. I don't know if that's a thing, but it's a thing for me. And so I would just feel so terrible. And I'm like, I've been Muslim my entire life. I've been offering salah for 1,000 years. Why can't I get this? Like, why do I keep not focusing? Is it the shaitan? You know, is it, you know, khanas? What's going on? Is it my you know, my jinn? Like, is it me? Like, I'm just, why is this not happening? I love Allah Ta'ala. I want to worship. I feel good when I make salah. Why is this not working? And so, look, I'm getting emotional inside. I feel like crying. So when it came to me, again, accidentally, I don't know, accidentally on purpose, maybe it was just my time, I don't know. But when it dawns on me that, hey, you may actually have a problem. Maybe it's not just you, like something being, flawed in you. Maybe it's not that you're not doing enough of this or enough of that. Maybe it's really a problem with your frontal lobe, And so I started looking at things differently. And even though I fell off, I did, and I need to get back into it, trying to manage better. Again, I'm really, really struggling with this, trying to make changes in my life to deal with this. Even if, like, let's just say, even if a professional didn't diagnose me with ADHD, I most definitely have the symptoms. So nonetheless, the problem is the problem. And so one of the things I started doing that has been incredibly helpful, it's been almost a year now, I think. I started using Google Calendar, because of course I had it on my phone forever, but had never used it. I, took the time to actually watch some YouTube videos to figure out how to use it and how it would be good to use it for someone with ADHD. And I'm telling you, it has bettered my life so much. It's not perfect by any means, because as I said, I'm still struggling, trying to manage this whole thing at 52 and all these other things that's going on and that, I'm responsible for and committed to. But that calendar, using a different color coding, man, it is dope. I'm telling you, if you have a problem with time, scheduling, remembering your bills, all that kind of thing, put them in there. So like all my work schedule I do in brown. All of my schooling stuff I do yellow. My things that has to do with Beyond Clouds, which is one of my organizations, all that is in orange. Because I can't have different calendars. I need to have one like cohesive thing with everything that's going on in my life, so I can see it, and so I won't make plans. So all of my important stuff, whatever it is across the board, anything that's super important I cannot forget about, is in red. So if I have Zoom meetings, if it's just a regular something, I'll just do pink. Like my regular events and stuff like that are purple. Things, because I have to take out time for my kids, my children. Even though they're adults now, I still have to take time out with them. Or if I'm going to visit my son at his grave, or if I'm going to whatever, anything that I'm doing with my children, my daughters, we're going out to protests or something like that, everything that has to do with family is in pink. So when I look at my calendar, all my bills are in gray, and I make sure I put all of my bills so that they'll be together. I put them all at like 5 a.m. so they're way at the top. And so that'd be the first thing I see. Now, mind you, sometimes I have to remember to look at the calendar, but it has been so great. And the other thing that has been life-changing for me is Sheets, Google Sheets. And so my daughter taught me how to use that. And this whole year, this whole 2024, this is now August, so for 8 months, I can't believe that 8 months went by that fast, but for 8 months, I have been on point with my bills. On point. So everything is getting paid off. I also put like tabs up top to show how much income I'm bringing in every month and how much is going out, because budgeting and stuff, I have to really get into that. It's really difficult for me right now because my money really isn't my own. I'm taking care of a lot of people, and so dealing with the bills and then hashing out, and then the kids need, can you send me money for Uber and all this kind of thing. So but it helped me see how much money I was actually making per month. And I'm like, yo, I'm really bringing in really good money. But I have nothing to show for it so far as, savings, which I'm going to be working on. Hopefully I'll be making another video soon about how much money I've saved. I had managed to save a good amount of money, but people in my life needed help with things, and so that sort of got down. So I'm working on plumping up my account, inshallah. But yeah, man, those things help me so much, and it's because it's color coded. Now, I remember years ago, so I homeschooled for 26 years, and I used to take these teachers workshops. And I remember one of them was on how to work with children with ADHD. And it never dawned on me that I had it, nor any of my children. I think at least one of my children may also have ADHD. But the other problem is we teach our children, like if you have ADHD undiagnosed, you end up passing these traits onto your children. So... but I think one of my children definitely has ADHD, but it's been undiagnosed. So I don't know. I'm trying to work on that, getting both of us professionally diagnosed. Don't know I was going with this thought. Again, can't focus. And I'm actually blessed too, because when I told my daughters, like, hey y'all, guess what? And I told them, they were like, duh, like, did you not see your room right now? And like, you sitting around. And then also, I know I'm sure I have some depression, because the whole situation with my son being murdered and stuff like that, me trying to fight for justice for him and stuff like that, which is not working. It's not working as fast as I would like for it to. But so dealing with those things and just a lot of stuff. And so I'm blessed in that my daughters recognize these things in me, because they're so much more advanced than I am, and they take those things into account. So they don't express to me that they feel some kind of way if they're talking to me and I'm like zoning out. And it's funny because before I had this revelation, right, one of my daughters used to call me to account every now and again, and I knew I did this, but I didn't think it was anything wrong with it. But I will literally just stop in a space and I'm totally focused on whatever is in my mind that I'm thinking about, and I absolutely zone out. I'm no longer there. And my daughter started pointing that out to me. Again, before this whole ADHD, ADD thing. And I was just like, wow. I know. Oh, and multitasking. Multitasking is something else with people with ADHD and ADD. I actually thought that everybody multitasked. I just did. Like, if I'm relieving myself in the bathroom, I have to be doing something. And I grew up again in a household like that. People would go in the bathroom and they would take the newspaper, they would take the magazine or whatever. And that's just what I always did. So if I need to work in my planner, if I need to do whatever, so I just don't have it in me to, I guess literally don't have it in me to simply focus on one thing, because I feel like it's a waste of time. Like, you have this extra time, you're on the toilet, you should be doing something else too. It sounds a little bit crazy now I say it out loud, but yeah, that's how I feel. And then one of my friends lately has been pointing out, like you just always got to be doing something, like stop fidgeting. And I'm like, what? So I just be like, I told you I got ADHD. But these are things that, like, some things that I did realize about myself before, and some that I didn't, that people around me have been pointing out. And I'm like, okay, let's try to figure this thing out. And so bringing this whole thing back to the Muslim experience, and trying to focus on whatever, learning surah, learning, the Arabic language, just simply trying to focus in salat. I really, really wish that, inshallah, that happened. Again, I haven't run across it, and I'm always in some Islamic video or something like that. I haven't run across it. Maybe you have. If so, please send me a link or something down in the comments section, inshallah. But I really hope and pray that imams and scholars and all these people who make videos on like, hey, this is how you get to focus in your salah and like make your salah better and stuff. I really hope they start focusing on people with ADHD. That is a reality. And I saw earlier, I would try to remember to put links down in the description bar, but to some videos that I've watched and think might be good and informative for you. But I saw something recently or earlier today that said between, I think, 2007 and 2016, adult diagnoses of ADHD have risen 123%. That's only a 9-year period that it rose that high. And that's even now, this is 2024, so that was 8 years ago. And I am hearing a lot more about it these days, so I'm assuming more people are being diagnosed. And then you start to wonder, like, okay, well, all these people grow up with this and it wasn't diagnosed? Like, I believe it was for me, especially for girls, for females. It's more diagnosed in boys because, they focus on the hyperactivity, and boys tend to be very hyper. So they get diagnosed, whereas girls now is more internally. And, society has this whole like, oh, that's boys being boys. So I think it's more acceptable for boys to just wow out, where girls, that is socially unacceptable, at least when I was growing up. And so we tend to be very quiet and focused and stuff like that. And book reading, that's another thing. Oof. Even reading the Quran, I know I'm all over the place, I'm sorry, but things are just popping in my mind. Even with reading the Quran, I thought that like it would take me so long. It takes me so long if I'm reading the book itself. It takes me so long to get through a whole surah. Don't let it be long. Don't let it be Surah Al-Baqarah. Forget about it. It's taken me forever. And because I thought it was simply because I start contemplating whatever it's talking about. I start contemplating about that, and then I'm off to the races, and then I have to come back, and then I have to reread the last however many ayat, and then I'm off again. Then I have to, and it's been that way for a gazillion years for me. And so it's extremely difficult for me to actually get through the Quran. It ain't happening during Ramadan. Because not only is there so many other things going on I have to deal with, but I have that issue. And so again, as Muslims dealing with ADHD and ADD, we have a different reality. I'll say unique, but I don't really think that is unique to people because it's so far reaching, or at least it's being diagnosed as such now. But we have to, I think the discussion has to be, it has to be taken into account. And these Islamic psychologists and psychiatrists, I think really need to deal with that, because we'll be beating ourselves up thinking that something is lacking in our iman, and that's not what it is. Muslims are just human. We need to face that fact. And we have the same issues as everybody else does. And now I think they're doing more research these days on this to see if there's such thing as adult onset ADHD and ADD. Like they, have been saying that it's something that you already had that didn't get checked, didn't get diagnosed when you were a child, and so it carried over into your adult years. And now they're trying to look at if it's something that can actually start in adulthood. I say yeah, because with all the technology and the phones and stuff like that, we don't have to remember like we used to have to. We don't have to, everything. I think the same way they say that for children, like 5 and under, don't let them watch TV and things like that, because the frames are going so fast, and then that makes their brain need to have that stimulation. Like, I think that all this technology and stuff and food and pollution and all those sorts of things definitely has an effect on the brain and can force people into ADHD, ADD diagnosis. So anyway, that is my spill on my situation with ADHD and ADD. And please, people, let me know like what you think about my crazy talk. And if you're going through this sort of thing, and if you're Muslim, I'd really love to hear what you have to say about how you've been dealing with it or not dealing with it, or, sort of things you're going through internally because you're having problems focusing in Salat or reading the Quran or things of that nature. I know it's not just me. I'm not unique. I'm not that unique, you know what I mean? I may be fierce, but there's nothing unique about me. And so I know there has to be a lot more of you out there who is struggling in Islam, dealing with that mental health issue as well as others. So please do say something down in the comments below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum.